Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of the Last Night's Game podcast, where we are talking about the girls of summer. Forget the boys of summer. We're talking about the girls of summer, the WNBA season. And if you are listening to this, you are so smart because this is the season everyone is going to be talking about. We've seen numbers continuing to grow. So when you finish this, send this to someone who needs it, who needs to learn a little bit about of the world of basketball, the world of the WNBA, and the brilliance, the talent that you'll see on the court. And here to share all his wisdom around the WNBA with us is my co-host, co-founder, and my favorite brother, Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on, and you're also my favorite sister.
Thank you.
And maybe you can become one of the girls of summer someday.
Not a chance.
We'll
I cannot
trademark.
barely
We'll have to trademark that.
well, they call baseball the boys of summer because
Yes.
they were originally the only major professional men's sport
hmm
that the four, if you will, NHL, NBA, and NFL and MLB. They were the only ones to play in one whole year. So they were the boys of summer. Well,
Yes.
we now have the NBA season that starts in May and finishes around October. So I'm coining them as the girls of summer because they're going to give us something to get excited about over the summer.
Yeah, and with no Olympics, it's either baseball or WNBA. So we're gonna have a lot of coverage. And then we spoke about on our baseball podcast that ESPN's out of the baseball game after this year, and I think they're gonna go all in on WNBA
You think so?
next year. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So there's your. If they steal your phrase, they can expect a cease and desist.
That's right. Get it together, ESPN.
Yes.
Five for $5. Just kidding.
More than that.
It's a whirlwind. So this time of year I find is a whirlwind for everybody. For people with kids, it's that wrap of the school year. For people who are in school, it's the wrap of the school year. We call it Maycember around here because it's insane like December. Graduations, there's always something happening in May and it's always so busy. And it's a whirlwind for these players who came out of college. They were drafted not that long ago, a couple weeks ago. They were drafted from college into the WNBA. Then they start the season. They went off of their college basketball season right into the WNBA, and there is like no stopping. You have 4, 6 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah, unlike other sports where you get drafted and you have multiple months, you'll have training camps, time to adjust. There's no adjustment period here. You get 3 to 4 weeks if you play the national championship, like number one pick Paige Beckers with the Dallas Wings. They're jumping right into it. So it's a lot of adjustment for these women, and I think you have to take that into consideration when the season starts. That 3 to 4 weeks ago, they were playing, you know, 18-year-olds and accountant majors that necessarily didn't have professional dreams, and now they're with the best of the best in the world. So it's it's kind of mind-blowing to actually think about.
I mean, it really is. It's to allude to something that's happened recently. It's like the Pope, right? Like you've gone from being a
Mhm.
cardinal in your own comfort zone to like you never get to go home and you are now the head of, this figurehead for so many people. Like they have shifted. Maybe that's not the best, but essentially we're upshifting big time.
Yeah, and the Pope, I'm sure he was probably planning on attending the Chicago Sky's home opener as a Cardinal, but now he can't, so he's stuck in Rome. So he's got to get some streaming services going in the Vatican. I'm sure he's a big Sky fan.
I'm sure he is. I mean, you are an Aces fan. I took the tiny human last year to his my first
Yes.
ever WNBA game too. And we went to the Chicago Sky game and it was incredible. The talent on the court and just like to watch this game and to me, the NBA and even men's college basketball and we've talked about this, has gotten so much about the three-pointer is they're like big plays where these women are out there and they're playing together as a team. It's not a one pony show. Like this is not just the insert player here show. Like it's all about everybody on the court and everybody is dangerous and they work together and it's fast, but it's great. I just really enjoyed watching it, and I struggle watching, like, basketball sometimes in person because I get kind of bored, there's a lot going on, but also, like, I just sort of start looking at the advertisements and things, and, like, I really enjoyed watching a WNBA game. I like watching it on TV, like, it's so much fun.
And they're shorter than NBA games as well, which is always nice. A little bit quicker, more skill, more actual basketball being played rather than just three-pointers.
Yeah.
So,
So you'll see, and to go back to the whole whirlwind of the tour that they had, last year we had the Olympics, and there was a lot of
yes.
uproar about Caitlin Clark not making the Olympic team. And we talked about it last year, but we'll talk about it here. I mean, she came off of national championship.
Yes.
I mean, all the hype that was around her, period. A couple weeks, quote unquote, off where she trained with after the draft. She trained with her team, the Indiana Fever. Then she went into the season. So she had no time off. So to roll into the Olympics on
Hmm.
top of all of that, they had an Olympic break. And I mean, that's probably what saved her. I mean, that's a lot on your body.
Yeah, I think not getting picked for the Olympics obviously sucks. You want to be the best of the best and play with those top tier women, but getting that 3 to 4 week break really helped. As you saw, they went from, low in the standings to making the playoffs for the first time in a long time. So it did help. Unfortunately, these incoming rookies will not have that. They will have to go straight in with no Olympic break, only like an all star break for a few days. So Paige is probably going to be a little tired about July, August, but they'll have to manage playing time correctly and enjoy that all star break.
Yeah. And I'm curious, the season must have finished later last year then because of the Olympic break.
It did, yeah. They took what 3 to 4 weeks off for the
Yep.
Olympics to happen, so it did finish a little bit later. It's going to finish about October, around same time as the boys' of summer finish. So,
Okay.
and then that gives us that crazy October where we've got football, basketball, baseball, hockey, everything at once. So they carry us through the summer, and then they end with everyone playing at the
October.
same time. Yes,
Yeah, October is pretty much like the best time of year. I mean, just weather-wise, all the other things,
yes,
but then put in all the sports that you can digest.
at
It's
one time,
pretty
yes.
it's pretty fantastic. I mean, I'm very much enjoy it. So this season, we're looking at the New York Liberty won last year, and they feature players like Breanna Stewart, who most people have heard of. She's been around for a long time in the WNBA, in the basketball world, played in the Olympics. Who are we looking at this year? Like, are there teams that we should get excited about if we're brand new to this? If someone listening to this is brand new to watching the WNBA, what teams should we be watching? Are there names we should be watching for? Like, what should we be paying attention to if I want to join that conversation about the WNBA?
And if you're a I'll start here. If you're a Met Gala fan and never watched WNBA, you'll recognize Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, John Paul Jones. I think they were all there as the New York Liberty. So showing off their fashion. So they crossed over into that world, which is amazing to see, right? So now they have a whole new perspective on the arts, if you will. Although I don't
Mhm.
understand what the Met Gala is, but that's a different conversation.
Whole different podcast for you.
Yeah, so you'll see them on the court. They won last year. They're the favorite again going into this year. Obviously, we have Las Vegas Aces that we're very biased towards. They'll be towards the top, I hope. We're going to have the Minnesota Lynx, and you may recognize Nafisa Collier, who started the Unrivaled League. So you
Mhm.
saw her all off season in the 3-on-3 league that she started. Obviously, Indiana Fever, we could go forever with Caitlin Clark. Chicago Sky will be interesting because obviously they have Angel Reese, and then they drafted her former point guard from LSU, Haley Van Lith. So they've got
Yeah, that's right.
so they've got an injection of excitement there with the shooter, and they stole one of our Aces coaches, Tyler Marsh, who's an incredible player development coach. So they're going to see a big spike in wins this year, I think, unfortunately. And then we have the newcomer of the year. We have a new franchise finally. We've been waiting for a very long time for someone to get some new blood in it, and San Francisco area is excited. We have the Golden State Valkyries coming in as the 13th team in the league.
Well, it's really cool. So we've talked about this previously. WNBA is really interesting because by time they get to the finals, those two teams have played each other quite a few times
Yes.
because there are only 13 now 14 teams if I'm
No,
correct.
there's 12, now there's 13. So
There's
there's only
12 now
12
there's
teams before, yeah.
Yep.
So
So
you just,
you play each other
yeah.
a lot. There's just no way around it.
Yeah, especially the good teams, because then they end up playing in the in-season tournament that they have. They end up playing the championship there. So they know each other very well by the end of the season. So it's exciting to get some new players, some new blood into the league. And the Golden State area, San Francisco is very excited. They're the first team to ever have 10,000 season ticket requests for the team before they even started. So it's exciting.
That's really cool. Well, and it's I mean, like, the nice part is it doesn't really it crosses over a little bit with the NBA, but not a lot. So if you're a basketball fan, you get to fill your NBA off season with quality, amazing basketball, And yeah, they're the first team to sell 10,000 season tickets. They've had a huge preseason, drawing like 17,000 fans, which is the highest for a WNBA preseason game this year. It's cool to see that, the city, so San Francisco area, kudos to you all for stepping up
Mhm.
and supporting this team because how cool is that to be able to have that?
And I believe that preseason game was also the day of a Warriors game, a playoff game. So,
Wow.
and they'll play in the house that Steph Curry built, the Chase Center. So the Warriors have really laid the groundwork for basketball fans, and now they're excited to see a new franchise. And we also lost another coach from the Aces to the Valkyrie, Natalie Nakase. So they have good lineage there as a coach, unfortunately.
I don't know. I know that Toronto's coming next year. I know that Serena Williams is super involved with the Toronto team. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I rack my brain if there's any celebrity owners of the Valkyrie, and I don't think there are. Are there?
I'm drawing a blank right now. We could have our research team jump on this real quick. And with
Perfect.
the excitement, I would hope that because they're affiliated with the Golden State Warriors, so and Steph is very involved in women's basketball, so I know that he will definitely be making an appearance at the games with his daughter and wife.
Yeah, this I just the research department over here just did a quick search, and there are no celebrity owners because it's owned by the same group that owns the Warriors.
Okay, so
There's that.
there we
I wouldn't
go.
be surprised to see Steph Curry work his way in there somehow though at some point.
Absolutely, as an ambassador, I can
Absolutely.
guarantee it.
So something cool happening this year besides the Valkyrie is finally we have charter flights for all 13 teams for the full season. Now you might remember last year was really the first year and they started with charter flights for Phoenix Mercury for Brittany Griner and Indiana because Caitlin Clark and these women were going through the airport just like you and I and hopping on a Southwest flight to get to where they needed to be and they had some security incidences with Brittany Griner in the airport
Yes,
and they really said this is an issue. It's a safety issue at this point. It's not a luxury need. This is a safety issue. And we're bringing these women through and, the NBA, they all have I mean, all major sports, professional sports teams have charter flights. And so this has been a
yes,
huge addition and a big piece of that collective bargaining agreement that has since been stepped out of. So we'll cover that in a second. But talk to me about that charter flight situation.
yeah. Like you said previously, before last year, they were on Southwest, getting in boarding group C, just like you at a 6-7 center, sitting next to you, connecting 4 flights to get to play a game in Connecticut. So this is
Mhm.
massive. About what I think halfway through the season last year, they finally got the charter flights. So this will be the first
Full season.
full season where they're traveling like professionals for the first time ever, which is going to be massive for them because I know in college they probably traveled way better. I'm sure they
Mhm.
charter flights in college. So finally, and I think that will reflect with play on the court. You won't have connecting flights and
You'll have more
missing
time to
flights
recover
and
and
things like that. Yeah. It's more about recovery than anything.
yeah, it was so interesting. I was thinking about this because when I flew last week, there was a guy that was getting on my plane who was probably I mean,
Mhm.
I think the flight attendant said was over 7 foot tall. And they went to go pre-board everybody like in wheelchairs and people who need extra time. And then they grabbed this guy and said, "Hey, get on the plane," because he needed that one. I was on Southwest. He needed that one exit row seat that there's two in front. There's a row of three, but
Yeah.
there's two in front of it. And that man would have never fit. He was
No.
so tall. He had to duck to go through the door, let alone sit in a Southwest seat. So you think about these and he was real tall and real skinny.
Yeah.
And so you think about these ladies who are buff and tall and all the things to try to fit and squeeze in these, like how much their recovery and how much their game will make a difference when they have that direct flight, when they have a chance to they regenerate, when they get to where they need to be and recoup and all the things they need to do and not have to worry about everything else
Everything.
that's going through security and all the other stuff that they're going to have to worry about.
And shout out to Delta Airlines for stepping up as a partner, which I
That's
found it was confusing that no airline would partner with them before. So at least we've got Delta stepping up, maybe getting some planes with some extra legroom perhaps for some of these ladies.
yeah, well, it's expensive, but I'm
Yes.
curious too, that you're not in some of the other major seasons,
Hmm.
but it is summer travel season, so I don't know how much Delta's charter business is a piece of what their fleet, but it's just really interesting, and I think that's a really cool thing because in the collective bargaining agreement that they covered in
Hmm.
2020, they added in childcare, they added in a lot of other things, maternity leave, different things for the athletes, and this year, because they have had stellar numbers. the Players Association has chosen to opt out of the
Mhm.
collective bargaining agreement. So talk to me, like, does that mean they're playing without one?
So they opted out before this season. So they do have one, and they're negotiating a new one,
Okay.
and they have till about October, I believe, to finalize it, or else who knows what'll happen. And all the momentum we've been seeing the past few years is building up to this pivotal year for the players, because it feels like they have all the power in the world at this point, and they can kind of use that leverage to get more than they've been able to negotiate before, like higher contracts and things like that for rookies, and increase that maximum pay. So this is like the most pivotal. I think we're in the 29th season. This might be the most pivotal season of all time.
Yeah, I mean, and you're looking at players like Caitlin Clark came in and
Hmm.
their minimum starting salary is $72,000.
Yes,
And until Unrivaled, which you mentioned earlier is a 3-on-3 league, started, that happened in the offseason, that made some good money, had some great traction.
yes,
It allowed these players to make some of them make more than they made in their WNBA season. And so it's that the league was started because these players were going overseas, like Brittany Griner, and playing basketball because that's how they made most of their money. And so you're seeing now that, Caitlin Clark's a different story, right? She has the endorsements, she has all of that stuff. We're not worried about Caitlin Clark, but there are other people who are further down the roster that are not making a ton of money. You could go make way more money at a corporate job. And granted, they love this, but
unfortunately,
this is
yes.
an opportunity for them to make enough money to survive, but also opportunities like Unrivaled that started up that helped fill that void. I do have the question. The WNBA has not previously been profitable, and I'm sure that there were a lot of leagues that were not profitable when they started, and granted, this is their 30th year, but I feel like this is really just like their 10th year. Talk to me about, are they profitable? What does this look like for them? Because they do fall under the NBA's ownership, NBA umbrella.
Yes, like you said, they have not been profitable up until this point, and last year they ended up losing a lot of money when we thought that maybe they would be making a ton with the massive rise in attendance and viewership and jersey sales. So last year I think they were like 50 million in debt, which is a massive number I don't think they were expecting, but that might have to do with, the charter flights and things like that. So it's a pivotal year. I don't know if they can make a profit, but they should be pretty close with
You should be at least positioned to, in
positioned
theory.
with a lot of games on TV, and we have a lot of games moving. We have at least 6 teams that have moved their games against the Fever to a larger arena. So we'll have the attendance, we'll have the viewership. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's negotiating in theory if they get, ESPN on to do more games, and in theory, that's the negotiating. The TV contract is that huge money. That obviously fills the void in the cup a lot faster than ticket sales. So hopefully they'll be positioned to be profitable. But I know it took the NFL a long time to be profitable. Like this is not
Yeah,
something that just happens overnight. You start a league and it makes money. You've got leagues like the XFL, which or UFL, I guess now,
yeah,
that are nowhere close. And so it's a process, right? It's sports, it's sexy, it doesn't always you have to pay a lot of money to make money, and that's
yes,
it's been interesting to watch that, and so we think of all these numbers and the growth, but yet they're still sort of digging out of a hole a little bit, but you're right, I didn't think about the tie-in of the charter flights too.
yeah. And I mean, everyone wants recency bias. They want everything happen now, quick. That's just the society we live in. So it takes time. And there was a point in the NBA before Michael Jordan where they were tape delay games on TV, so they weren't even live.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so I mean, it's a process for everyone. It's a growing for every sport. We've seen spring football, like you said, struggle every season to try to even get on TV. So at least they're skyrocketing in the right direction.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. Now, before we wrap, is there anything you wanna leave us with?
Wow, this is.
You always have this, like, little nugget at the end that I've totally missed in the notes that you love to share.
I think we spoke about the talent gap in the past 3 to 4 years. I think that talent gap has closed. Before we were so top heavy, where we had 3 to 4 good teams that were probably going to win the championship, and now we've got so much talent spread out throughout a lot of teams based on the WNBA draft rules, where they have to stay for 3 years. Talent spread out everywhere, big names everywhere. New York Liberty are favored, but I think anything could really happen this season.
It's really cool to see. It's like I said, it's great basketball. If you have not watched a WNBA season, tune in, watch a game or two, take some of these names and watch these teams that are really good, that have great players that you can, relate to, and follow them on social media and those kinds of things to really get to know them as humans. It's a lot of fun to cheer these women on and their phenomenal talents. My favorite players for sure, Asia Wilson. I just love her personality. Reigning MVP. She plays for the Aces, but she just has this like larger than life, fun, amazing personality. So like if you go follow some of those on Instagram and just get a little taste of what's happening in the WNBA in the world of sports, because it's a lot of fun to talk about, a lot of fun to follow along and get on the bandwagon.
Yep.
Do it. The bandwagon is on fire. Let's get on and let's do it.
And Asia just released her first signature shoe. So it just came out. But go ahead and check those out.
Yeah, and well, before I actually have that. Isn't it Sabrina Ionescu who has a shoe that a ton of people in there too?
Well, yeah, the Nike connection back to Oregon where she went to college. So she's got a strong connection with Nike. So she has some nice shoes too.
She has shoes, but people in the NBA wear them. It's not like, "Hey, it's just a good
Yeah.
shoe for women." They're like, "Screw it, I like this shoe for me too." So, like, it's cool to see that as well.
Yeah. And probably hoping to get some of her 3-pointer prevalence as well out of those
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, I mean, dare to dream. Maybe I should go buy 18 pairs,
There you go.
tie them all around me, and maybe I'll be able to make dribble a ball.
Ooh, wow.
Well, thank you for sharing your insights with us on the world of the WNBA. Of course, tune in to us all summer long to catch up with the world of WNBA, what's happening in the world of sports. And of course, share this with someone who wants to learn a little bit more about WNBA, who's passionate about women's sports. It's a great way to join the conversation. Thanks for being here, Scott. And thank you all for listening.
Go Aces.
Wrong button. There we go.